The 2018 Milwaukee Brewers were a very interesting team. This team messed around a lot, had some big hitters, other hitters who would come and go around the lineup that had their special moments, the starting rotation, not all that special, and elite bullpen play. This team was one game away from going to the World Series for the first time since 1982, and the first time in the days of being in the NL. Today, let's talk about why this team was so good, and how no one expected them to get there. Our story starts before the 2018 season begins. The Brewers made two massive moves. They made a free agency splash, signing Royals outfielder Lorenzo Cain. He was drafted by the Brewers in 2004 and debuted in 2010. It was later traded to the Royals in 2011 for Zack Greinke and other players. Cain was successful with the Royals, finishing third in AL MVP voting in 2015 and winning the World Series in the same year. The next big move was trading for Marlins rising star outfielder Christian Yelich. The Marlins received three young guys that didn't pan out to be good, including Lewis Brinson, a player with a lot of potential that never planned out to be as good as we thought. Those two moves were both huge for the Brewers and helped them have success in the 2018 season. Let's fast forward to the beginning of the season. Along with the aforementioned Lorenzo Cain and Christian Yelich, this team had some other talent. Third baseman Travis Shaw, also known as the mayor of Ding Dong City. In the 2017 offseason, Shaw was traded to the Brewers from the Red Sox in a package deal. Shaw was decent with the Red Sox, but became better when joining the Brewers. The season prior, he batted .273 with 31 home runs and 101 RBIs in 144 games played. In 2018, he batted .241 with 32 home runs and 86 RBIs in 152 games. Shaw was a fun power hitter and great addition to the Brewers team that made them fun to watch. The next guy is first baseman Jesus Aguilar. Aguilar replaced the injured Eric Thames during the 2018 season, who we will talk about next. Aguilar batted .274 with 35 home runs and 108 RBIs, and was an all-star. Aguilar was a big part of this team. Now, let's talk about Eric Thames. Thames was the first baseman for the first 22 games before getting hurt. By the time he returned in June, Jesus Aguilar was doing so well that they kept him in the starting first baseman job, and Thames was moved to outfield. Next guy is veteran Ryan Braun. At this point, Braun is past his prime and is no longer the best outfielder on the team, but can still ball out in the majors. Braun was playing left field primarily and only started 99 games. Braun batted at .254 with 20 home runs and 64 RBIs. On July 28, 2018, the Brewers traded Brett Phillips and Jorge Lopez to the Royals in exchange for third baseman Mike Moustakas. Travis Shaw was moved to second by this time so that this would work. With the Brewers, Moustakas batted at .256 with 8 home runs and 33 RBIs. Moustakas would end up taking a bigger step with the Brewers in the 2019 season, but this video is about the 2018 Brewers, so we don't care about that. Now, let's discuss this pitching of the team. The starts at the time were just okay with Jhoulys Chacin, a young Freddie Peralta, a young Brandon Woodruff, Chase Anderson, and Zach Davies. Neither of these guys were all-star worthy or anything like that. Their job was just to not give up too many runs before the bullpen comes in. And the bullpen was the real magic of this team. This team had a big three between Corey Knebel, Jeremy Jeffress, and legendary reliever/closer Josh Hader. Hader pitched a 2.42 ERA with 143 strikeouts and 81.1 innings pitched, which are some of the best numbers among all relievers in the MLB. Between these three, their combined ERA is 2.75. Now that we've gone over how the players have helped the team, let's talk about the season. The Brewers finished the season 96-67, which is tied for the most wins in franchise history. You might be thinking, but TrianglePack, that adds up to 163, not 162. Well, you're right, because the Brewers and Cubs played an extra game at the end of the season to determine the winner of the NL Central, because both teams were tied at 95-67. The Brewers also recorded 9 walk-off wins, which is a lot, making up about a tenth of all their wins. The Brewers got the 1 seed in the NL for the first time in franchise history, meaning they would have home field advantage for all of the playoffs. Milwaukee did not have to play in the wildcard one-off game since they were a division winner. The 4-seeded Cubs, unfortunately for them, they did have to play, and they lost to the 5-seeded Rockies. The Brewers would play the Rockies, and the 2-seeded Dodgers would play the 3-seeded Braves. The Brewers would have no problem against the Rockies, sweeping the series 3-0. The Brewers would outscore the Rockies 13-2 in the series, shutting out the Rockies in games 2 and 3. The Brewers' bullpen, as mentioned before, was hot. Their pitching alone won them the series as their offense wasn't bad. They could have been better, though. For the first time since 2011, the Brewers would be going to the NLCS, and with home field advantage this time. Can this team do what they have failed to do years prior, especially 1982, and win the World Series? Let's find out. The Brewers would end up facing the big, bad, massive market Dodgers. This is a series that we will never forget. It started with Game 1 in Milwaukee. The best pitcher in baseball, Clayton Kershaw, was starting against a young and promising Brandon Woodruff. Generally, pitchers do not like to give up home runs, especially to the pitcher. These pitchers do not specialize with hitting. Well, what if I told you that in the second inning, Woodruff stepped up to the plate to face Kershaw and took a ball on a ride? This moment is arguably one of the most electric moments in Brewers history, being the deciding run in a 6-5 victory over the Dodgers. Game 2 came along, and the Brewers would end up losing 4-3 after being up 2-3 and giving up 2 runs in the 8th, which ultimately led to a loss, evening the series at 1-1. Game 3 was great. We're now in LA, and the Brewers shut out the Dodgers 4-0 with great pitching all around, giving up only 5 hits. Orlando Arcia going 2-4 with a home run and 2 runs batted in, putting the Brewers up 2-1. Game 4 was a big one, going into extras. The Brewers pulled out the star Gio Gonzalez after 1 inning and played bullpen ball for the next 12. Oh, and also the game went into 13 innings. Unfortunately, Cody Bellinger had a walk-off single with 2 outs. That led to the Dodgers to win 2-1, evening the series 2-2. The series was tied after 4 games, with this one coming up in LA. The Brewers did something very interesting. Wade Miley, a lefty, would start the game for the Brewers. He threw a 5-pitch walk to the leadoff batter Cody Bellinger. Right after that, Craig Counsell took Miley out in favor of righty Brandon Woodruff. Is Counsell stupid? No. Counsell had a plan to have the Dodgers prepare their right-handed hitters to face the lefty, Wade Miley. But then, when righty Brandon Woodruff came in after 1 batter, the Dodgers had a bunch of righties facing a righty. This didn't matter, unfortunately, as the Brewers would lose Game 5, 5-2, giving the Dodgers a 3-2 lead, with the final 2 games being in Milwaukee. Milwaukee is now 1 game away from being eliminated. Game 6 is here, and now we are back in Milwaukee, and Wade Miley really does start today, putting up 4.5 innings and giving up 2 runs. The bullpen would pitch the rest of the game, allowing no runs, no walks, and no hits. Another incredible bullpen performance from Corey Knebel, Jeremy Jeffress, and Corbin Burns. This was a young Burns, before he became the ace we know him as today. The hitting was also good, driving in 7 runs and 11 hits to win 7-2 and even back up the series. One more winner goes to the World Series to decide it all. It is now Game 7, and Milwaukee is popping. Stadium is sold out and has been all home series, with Brewers faithful cheering as loud as they can. The Brewers had their top guy, Chassin. The Dodgers had Walker Buehler, and the stage was set. Bottom of the first, Yelich hits a solo home run to put the Brewers up 1-0 early. Chassin ended up only pitching 2 innings, with Hader coming in to pitch 3, and then bullpen and Brandon Woodruff would finish the game. If you read the title, you might know where this is going. The Brewers did not win the World Series this year, or even make it. The Brewers ended up losing 5-1. The Dodgers were going to face the Red Sox in the World Series, and the Brewers were staying home. Milwaukee was heartbroken. The magical 2018 Brewers season just ended like that. Though, it was definitely not a season to forget. A very fun one, in fact. Across the next few years, struggle came. 2019, lost to the Nationals in the wildcard game, and the Nationals won the World Series. 2020, COVID season, with 60 games, so 16-team playoff. Brewers were an 8th seed at 29-31, and the Dodgers were a 1 seed at 43-17. Brewers were swept in 3 games. The Dodgers went on to win the World Series. In 2021, Brewers got the 2 seed, winning their division. Faced the 3-seeded Braves in the NLDS. Lost the series 3-1, and the Braves won the World Series. In 2022, the Brewers mixed the 6th wildcard spot to 1 game behind the Phillies, and the Phillies went on to lose the World Series to the Astros. In 2023, Brewers were a 3 seed. Diamondbacks were a 6. Brewers got swept 2-0. Diamondbacks went to the World Series, but lost. But then finally, in 2024, the 3-seeded Brewers would face the 6-seeded Mets and lose. However, the Mets would lose the NLCS to the 1-seeded Dodgers and end a curse that lasted in all of Brewers history, where if you would beat the Brewers in the playoffs, your team would go on to the World Series. Unfortunately, on January 16th, 2025, legendary Brewers and baseball broadcaster, ball player,
and icon, Bob Uecker, would peacefully pass at the age of 90. The entire baseball and sports world was devastated. Uecker was loved by the city of Milwaukee, the state of Wisconsin, and all of baseball. This year, the Brewers started the season off shaky, then started winning games, and currently hold the best record in all of baseball, sitting at 68-44 at the day of recording. Can the Brewers finally win a World Series? We'll find out this October